Everyone told my client that cold email would not work in their industry. We launched a cold email campaign anyway. It worked so well, they had to ask us to stop and pause the campaigns because their calendar was so full. In this video, I'm walking you through the 3 choices that made this campaign work. The offer positioning, the list build, and the infrastructure, connecting them all together. And why getting all 3 right at the same time is what separates a campaign that scales from one that breaks. I'm Bob Xu, founder of RevSync. I built and ran outbound systems and campaigns across more than 10 industries. This result wasn't luck, and it wasn't a perfect industry. It was a specific set of choices made correctly. Let's start with choice number 1 that you have to make. The mistake most campaigns make is leading with what they sell. The offer we built for this client, it led to something the buyer actually cared about. It was low friction, genuinely useful, and felt like it came from someone who understood their world rather than someone trying to just get a meeting from them. So let me show you what that difference looks like from start to finish. So here's a visual breakdown comparing what a generic high friction offer creation process looks like and a low friction, relevant, high value offer, and how receptive your prospect will be depending on the offer you create. So in your generic outbound offer, it leads with a direct sales pitch, and then a buyer sees it coming and their guard goes up and those messages get ignored, or your email gets marked as spam, which is very bad. And how this would look like is typically clients I work with that have not previously built high converting outbound campaigns would create an offer that just asks for a sales call and a free diagnostic. That is a very, very high friction ask because you're asking for someone that's never heard of you to hop on a call. And especially with how prevalent outbound and cold outreach is, hopping on calls is something that is very, very against what people typically want. The second choice was the list. And this is where most campaigns fail before a single email is sent. The standard approach is to pull a list from Apollo, ZoomInfo, filter by industry, job title, and just start sending. That approach misses everyone who isn't in the standard database with the clean direct email attached to their profile. For building materials, that's a huge portion of the addressable market. We targeted support emails in addition to direct contacts and wrote copy that was specifically relevant and designed to redirect the message to the person in charge. That expanded the total addressable market beyond what any standard data pool would have captured and reached buyers who most certainly have not been touched by cold email previously. Now, here's a visual comparison of what this would look like in practice. So this is your standard list building practice, and here is your multi-source maximum TAM building workflow. In this case, for our building materials client, if you were to poll Apollo, ZoomInfo by industry and title, you probably get, I would say, 10,000 leads or contacts in the entire US, which is not even enough for an email campaign. And you're getting direct emails of the contacts. And a lot of these people aren't even on LinkedIn because they're contractors, they're construction workers, they don't have LinkedIn. So you can't even find them. And your TAM is much smaller than you expect. So you go to the client, you're like, oh, in the US, it's only 10K ideal clients or leads for you guys, which is not even suitable for email. And then the same contacts that you poll have been also pulled by thousands of other companies that did cold email. So what happens is you get 0 reply rate or very low reply rate, and people who receive those emails are already very skeptical on your offer because they've seen so many in the past. So overall, this approach is a lose-lose where you get less leads and less response rates and lower quality leads as well. On the contrary, for this client, we did a multi-source list build, meaning we not only used conventional sources like Apollo. This was only a very small portion. Apollo was probably only, I would say, 30% of our list. We also built custom scrapers for Google Maps, social media, even Facebook to gather support emails of contractors. Because if you're a contractor, you probably have your email or support email listed on Google Maps or on your Facebook page or on your Instagram page. Those are all sources for data. And we combine multiple scrapers and also multiple data providers such as Prospeo, LeadMagic, FindEmail, because those providers have a lot of contacts that are not on Apollo. And we combine those into a multi-source list. And in that way, we have a combination of contacts. So we have generic emails, direct emails, and even personal emails. And that yields a much higher reply rate because all this goes into Clay where we enrich and validate, and we get maximum time reached. And also these contacts are people that typically never get emailed or get emailed very infrequently and have a much higher response rate. And they're much more receptive to a genuine and relevant offer. So this list build approach combined with having a great offer that's relevant and low friction yielded them super high reply rates. with people that have genuine interest. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking your last cold email attempt failed because of the channel, I want you to reconsider that conclusion. Grab some time with me using the link below, and I'll show you where the actual breakdown was and what it would take to build a campaign that works for your specific industry and your buyer. So let's talk about the infrastructure. The campaign launched. The replies started coming in, and within a short time, the client reached out to ask us to pause everything because their team couldn't keep up with the volume of positive interest. That outcome wasn't the product of a lucky industry or unique offer that could never be replicated. It was the product of three things being correct at the same time. First, the offer positioned and removed resistance before the buyer even finished reading the email. The list reached people who have never been touched by a campaign like this before. And the infrastructure linked every positive reply to an immediate alert, so no leads sat in your inbox unattended. When all three are built correctly together, the result is a repeatable system that is high touch. So let me show you what that looks like in practice. So here's a clear comparison between a system with no infra and a system that typically we would build with infra that would support and handle positive replies and classify them properly. So in this case, when things are not working properly, you get a positive reply, it sits in the shared inbox where it's unattended. The SDR is working through other tasks, obviously, and when they have some free time, they come to the inbox and they find a reply and they get back to it. This lead time probably takes, I would say, an hour, 2 hours, depending on how busy they are. And then hours later, they would craft a reply and the lead has already lost complete interest and the follow-up is way too late. So the deal never materializes because when people express interest in your email or reply, that interest is very short-lived and typically only stays for about 5 to 10 minutes. So after that 10-minute time frame, even if you reply with a very good offer, they would typically not respond to you anymore. And based on your experience managing or seeing cold emails in your inbox or cold in the DMs, that is your response as well. If someone doesn't get back to you within 10 minutes, probably you lose interest. Now, comparing this to a system that we built that works and converts, a positive reply arrives. AI classifies as the reply, so only the positive ones are routed to your sales team. Slack alerts fires and tags your sales rep. So right away, they're alerted only when the reply is positive, and there's typically a link in this alert that redirects them to the master inbox to handle the reply. So they don't even need to find that lead in the master inbox with a bunch of replies. They get routed directly to the positive reply conversation. And the lead is enriched automatically when it's tagged as positive, and the email summary chain is created. And these two pieces of information are all ported into your CRM. So your lead in your CRM has enriched information and also what happened in that email chain and why they responded positively, summarized by a GPT agent that we create, all in your CRM. And then the rep can just click the reply and be routed to that inbox to handle the reply right away. This entire process would happen probably within 2 to 3 minutes because everything here is automated. So speed to lead is definitely within 10 minutes and usually within 5 minutes, which yields a 10x conversion rate. And in that case, the lead is still warm and a deal enters your pipeline. To showcase some results that we've created by simply implementing this workflow, you can see here for this client, same thing, combining good lists, good copy, good offer, and an automated system. We're getting 4.25% reply rate. And this client is in the marketing space, which typically is very hard to sell. And the offer is very prevalent, so people don't respond to marketing offers, but we were able to get 4% reply rate and over 103 opportunities with just 7,000 emails sent, which is incredibly crazy. Here's what this campaign actually proves. Cold email works in industries people have written off. It works in building materials, marketing, construction, etc. And it works whenever the offer is created properly, the list is fully built, and the infra is connected well enough to capture every lead the campaign generates. The companies that have given up on cold outreach failed because 1 or 2 of those 3 components were missing, and nobody diagnosed which one before they walked away. That gap is fixable, and fixing it requires building the right systems beneath the outreach you're already running. Grab some time using the link below, and I'll walk you through your current setup and show you exactly which part of those 3 components is causing your results to break before anything else gets built or launched.